All right, good morning to you. It is Thursday morning, and the roads are dry, which is pretty amazing given what we were told was going to happen yesterday. A lot of kids got a free day off. Can we just say that? Once again, I think maybe school administrators could take a lesson from this. Any thoughts on that, Kim?
I really think it's a liability thing because I agree that yesterday was not a necessary snow day. And now I think some of these districts are getting to the point where they would be having to look at making it up, which students will not be thrilled if they have to stay later into the school year, or if there was some sort of like a, teacher development day, maybe they have to give that up and have the students in class.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if they I guess you just err on the side of caution. They certainly used to not err on the side of caution, but these days lots of schools were off yesterday. And I know down to the south they got a little more of a mess, but in St. Louis proper, I watched a live shot this morning because all these were set up in advance where there was a TV reporter out on the street somewhere in South St. Louis, and they actually went to him live and said, Justin, What can you tell us about what the streets and the side streets in St. Louis are looking like this morning? Did they do a good job? Well, first of all, it didn't matter if they did a good job because nothing happened.
There was no job to do.
There was really no job to do, and he even compared it. This looks so different than it did back in January when we had that snow. Well, we didn't have the kind of snow we had back in January. Of course, it looks good. I don't know. I hated doing those live shots when I worked in news. I kind of feel bad for the guy. They probably told him he had to go out and do it. But people watching it aren't stupid. You have to assume they're looking at that thinking, well, why are you comparing this to January? I don't know.
I think my concern leaving the house today, because I didn't leave the house after I got home yesterday, was potential ice.
Yes.
But I really didn't notice that. I don't know if the crews pre-treating the streets with that brine was effective, or if it just washed away and it just simply wasn't enough. I don't remember seeing a lot of sleet. Like I heard a little bit of it outside our house, but not a substantial amount.
I was out and around through the afternoon. I heard a little bit of sleet. The freezing rain clearly never happened. There was some rain, but it pretty quickly turned to snow, so I don't think that was a huge issue. I don't know. It just ended up being a nothing burger, and we all got worked up over it, and now I have more eggs than I can ever eat. What the hell am I going to do with all those eggs?
I'll take eggs off
you
your
want
hand.
some eggs?
Yeah,
you want some? I'm handing out eggs.
I'll pay you for eggs.
Oh, no, he said he'll hand them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, those things are like gold now, so I don't expect him just to hand them. I know. I don't expect him just to hand them to me.
I should auction off all the eggs. I don't actually. I'm not hoarding eggs. It's just that I went to the grocery store. If you missed this yesterday, I went to the grocery store a couple days ago, and I'm shopping, and I see the eggs, and I'm like, what? There were eggs in there that were $8 a carton. And then there were some that were $5 a carton. I don't know why some were cheaper than others, but I bought another carton of eggs, and I get home, my wife says, there are 2 more cartons of eggs in the refrigerator out in the garage. I think we have enough eggs for a while. So now we have more eggs than we can probably use. But, it's almost like hoarding toilet paper. When you saw it, you bought it just because you're afraid you wouldn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
So later this morning, I had this question yesterday. What in the hell is going on with eggs? And when does this problem fix itself? And we're going to address this morning. We've got Richard Stern on, and he's an expert at Heritage on the economy, and he's been looking at this problem, and hopefully we're going to get a better explanation on the whole egg shortage coming up here about 7:35 this morning. Got some Doobie Brothers tickets to give away this hour. If you're listening early today, you get the bonus because you're going to have a chance to win some Doobie Brothers tickets. We're going to get to that for you just a little later as well. Jim Talent, Shannon Bream, Griff Jenkins, so much going on out there every day with Trump. Peace talks with Russia. Lee Zeldin over there finding gold bars that were thrown off the Titanic by the Biden administration. It's unbelievable the fraud they're uncovering that was done under this previous administration. It's sickening. And much of it has been going on for years. Eric Burleson did a fantastic job yesterday at that transparency subcommittee hearing. And we'll get some of that sound for you as well. We'll get to all of that and more for you coming up in just a couple minutes on this Thursday morning. Glad you are with us. Carl, let's get to our top stories.
The Marc Cox Shortlist.
How soon do you want the Department of Education to be closed?
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job.
Yes, indeed it is, Mr. President. Thank you. And now he's in charge, and now he can do something about it. So just stand by, please.
This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me.
Man, there is a new chief in charge at the DOJ. Her name is Pam Bondi, and guess what? She is now targeting people like the governor of New York and the state's attorney up there, Letitia James. She's going after them for protecting illegal criminal aliens over U.S. citizens.
The American people's anger over this betrayal is what gave birth to the concept of DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency.
Thank you. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the one they picked to chair this committee, and I don't think they could have picked a better person other than maybe Nancy Mace, because between the two of them, they absolutely have destroyed the left in this committee hearing yesterday.
Do you think calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick.
Carl, we just played the whole bite there. This is a guy named Robert Garcia. I don't know if you heard this yesterday or not, but he was in this committee. He's in the subcommittee. He's one of the Democrat minority members of this subcommittee on government waste. Imagine this now, right? They say that if you get in an argument with somebody and you finally get reduced to name calling, you've lost the argument. That when you get to that point, you don't have any facts to offer. You just start cussing at somebody. You've probably lost the argument.
I would agree with that.
And Robert Garcia is case in point yesterday in this hearing. He says to one member, well, one time you brought a Richard Pick onto the floor of the House, and you showed it to all of us. Well, I want to show you a picture of another dick, he says, and then he pulls out a picture of Elon Musk and puts it on an easel behind him on the floor of the House. I mean, in the subcommittee meeting. It was unbelievable. I'm thinking to myself, you're angry at somebody who's not taking a salary and uncovering fraud and waste in this government. Why don't you redirect your anger towards something that matters, like the trillions of dollars of taxpayer money you've helped vote on wasting in this country?
It's interesting to me to think about how many people supported people like Elon Musk or Donald Trump. And I'm talking about people like Ellen DeGeneres or
Yes.
Oprah. All of these people who thought Elon Musk was so cool and he was doing so many great things for our country, along with Trump. And then as soon as they have any sort of role in government, they are, public enemy number one.
Yeah, I know. It was unbelievable. And we're seeing it. You're seeing it in real time between Jasmine Crockett and Maxine Waters and some of these other crazies that are protesting daily. They've really run out of things to talk about. They have completely run out of decent arguments against what's going on here. They're on the losing side of this argument. The American people can see it. The Democrats, for some reason, can't see it. It's all they've got to pivot to, it seems like. And I can't wait. Later today, Donald Trump says he's going to name names. He's going to hold a news conference. He's got one scheduled later today to reveal the names and the entities of people involved in government fraud and abuse. You won't believe some of what they've uncovered. I'm going to play you what Lee Zeldin had to say about this yesterday and what he has uncovered just in his department of what the Biden administration tried to do in the final days of the administration. They had cash they wanted to get out the door to some of their political buddies in these NGOs, but they were running out of time. And it sounds fraudulent, and I don't think there's any way that it's not fraudulent. And I hope each and every one of the people that made this decision is charged with it. I hope they follow the money and see where that money was going. Your taxpayer dollars. We're going to get to that for you coming up here in just a couple of minutes. It is a Thursday morning, though, and Carl Middleman, who's bringing us our national anthem?
The band Ricochet.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Good morning to you. Here's a surprise. We look fine on the roads, but it's cold. So just be careful. Frozen spots here and there. For the most part, though, we are in great shape and have light volume in general. Man, yesterday could have been so worse. So much worse, and it really wasn't anything, and it turned out fine. Now, if you are headed in from Illinois this morning, we've got light traffic there as well. And no delays on northbound 55 headed into downtown. Off to a good start. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
So glad that Sue Thomas had such a nice, calm afternoon yesterday. Isn't that great? Fantastic. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Kirk Day School, because if you've got kids or grandkids in that 3 to 4 age range and you are looking for a place to send them, you need to take a look at Kirk Day School, and you got a great opportunity to do so coming up here because they're about to have an open house at their early childhood facility there, and you can go in and just take a look for yourself. You have to do that. You have to go tour it, and here's what you're going to find. You're going to find a situation where your children are getting not just spiritual teaching, but academics on top of that, a biblical worldview, great teachers, lots of hands-on activities, Christ-centered classrooms. If you've never considered Kirk Day School, I want you to go over there. So coming up on March 7th, put it on your calendar. It's a Friday. You can go over there and take a tour. All you need to do is register, let them know you're coming. You'll have an opportunity to meet with parents who already have kids there. They can explain their experience to you. You'll get to meet some of the teachers. And it's just a fantastic opportunity to find out more about it. And it could change your child's future. There's no doubt about it. Go online today to register. It is kirkdayschool.org.
The Annie Fry Show.
Elon Musk is out there saying, I think that if you're going to receive government funds, you should be able to prove that you're a human being. Outrage. It's absurd.
The Annie Fry Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-million. That's 314-9 all zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
If he were a baseball player, he'd be batting 1,000. The Marc Cox Morning Show. Talk lines are open now at 314-241-9797 or 866-455-9797.
You know that song, the Doobie Brothers. They're coming out to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Tickets go on sale tomorrow, but you have a chance to win a pair this morning. They're going to be there September 4th, it sounds like, at the Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. Michael McDonald and the boys will be out there playing, and it should be a great time. So we'll give away a pair of tickets right now. 314-241-9797. 314-241-9797. And since it is the 13th, lucky 13, caller number 13 will win the tickets to see the Doobie Brothers. 314-241-9797. Best of luck to you. That's a show I wouldn't mind seeing, Carl, because, again, who knows how long they're going to be around.
I saw them. This is the third year in a row that they've been here. So I saw them 2 years ago, and it was a really good show. And Michael McDonald still sounds great.
Yeah, I have an embarrassing admission to make. I have never seen them live.
I've seen them with him and without him.
Wow.
They are both. I mean, John Hartman's a great guitar player and singer. So.
Oh yeah.
Both versions are good.
So I mentioned earlier I want to talk about Lee Zeldin, and this guy has gone in to take over the EPA, but before he starts figuring out environmental issues, he's looking at waste. And I don't know if you remember this or not. I don't remember if I played it, but one of the undercover organizations went in and they caught a member of the Biden administration admitting that they were doing all they could to dump the gold bars over the side of the boat before Donald Trump got in office. Now, what they meant was we're trying to get rid of all of this money to our buddies before Trump takes over and cuts it off. They knew that was going to happen. So Zeldin was aware of that interview. Listen to this.
An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring a Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. The gold bars were tax dollars, and tossing them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it.
Yeah, yes, they did. So here's what he found. What he found, you don't have to be a forensic auditor to realize what fraud looks like. Now it's just a matter of finding out who did it. Listen to this.
Fortunately, my awesome team at EPA has found the gold bars. Shockingly, roughly 20 billion of your tax dollars were parked at an outside financial institution by the Biden EPA. This scheme was the first of its kind in EPA history, and it was purposefully designed to obligate all of the money in a rush job with reduced oversight. Even further, this pot of $20 billion was awarded to just 8 entities that were then responsible for doling out your money to NGOs and others at their discretion with far less transparency. Just under $7 billion was sent to one entity called the Climate United Fund. I'm sure you and I now have some of the same questions. How do these organizations decide how to allocate funding? How much money have they given out so far and to whom? Are there any former Biden EPA staffers who are now working at these entities?
Yeah, aren't those all good questions? I don't know why that audio is so bad. It didn't sound like that when I was editing it, Carl. We'll have to figure out if there's something wrong with my system there. But you get the point. So they moved $20 billion to an outside bank so the money could be distributed to these NGOs run by a bunch of their buddies. The Climate Fund got $7 billion of your tax money with no accountability because that administration's gone. We don't know who runs that fund, and the money could already have been sent. I'll guarantee you that fund makes contributions to political candidates. How much of that money was funneled back into Democrat pockets? You have to ask.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just so much sketchy stuff that happened, and obviously you and I feel like there's a lot of corruption that happened within the Biden administration, well, specifically within the Biden family. But I think even just with the last few weeks and the spending, just so much stuff that they did, it felt like to screw over the Trump administration.
Yeah.
I just saw that poll where it said Biden is now the least popular living U.S. president, and Trump's favorability in this latest poll is near record high.
Well, it should be.
Right.
It should be, because even people that didn't vote for him can't deny the fact that he is every day doing what he told you he would do on the campaign trail. And instead of hiding, I mean, Joe Biden signed a flurry of executive orders when he took the oath of office for that same day. And then he just kind of drifted off, like he never talked to Vladimir Putin in the 4 years he was in office. He was not, he was just, all he was interested in was assuaging our enemies, and in some cases our allies, by funneling your tax dollars to them. That was his foreign policy. It's unbelievable. And I'm so happy it's stopping. We're going to have Eric Burleson on tomorrow morning, just so you know. We've already got him scheduled on Friday morning to talk more about what this subcommittee is hoping to get accomplished. All right, coming up, we're going to get to Kim on a whim. We'll be right back.
Catch anything you missed today by getting the show podcast at 971talk.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
Setting goals for your retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, listen to the All Financial Hour with Steve All, Saturday mornings at 6, here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We are in a windy and cold northwest flow today. Clouds giving way to some sunshine. It's a bundle-up day from start to finish. 27 for the high. Tonight, clear, cold. Light winds down to 12. Friday, partly sunny. Very cold start, but windy and a little better Friday afternoon. 38, still cold. Rain developing on Friday night. We stay above freezing. Periods of rain on Saturday, and then lots of cold back here on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Today, we'll find out how travel demand is holding up for Airbnb. In addition to its earnings, Deere & Company reports its quarterly numbers. So does Palo Alto Networks, GE Healthcare Technologies, Molson Coors, and others. Chris Zaccarelli is Chief Investment Officer at Northlight Asset Management.
I think companies are continuing to be a little bit more cautious. They're forecasting gains. They see a strong consumer, although one that they worry is weakening a little bit on the lower end. But I think they're also a little bit wary about what will happen with tariffs. Clearly President Trump has used tariffs to good effect so far this year. He's using them in a very strategic way, but there are some risks associated with it, and there could be some winners and losers.
And there's another inflation update today, the Producer Price Index, inflation at the wholesale level before it reaches the consumer. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
When I started skiing, I didn't think about setting any records. When I won my first race, I didn't think about how many more I might win. So when I made it to the top of the world, it never crossed my mind to stop. Being the best isn't the same as being your best. There are no shortcuts to the top, so find the people who help get you there. I'm Michaela Schifrin, and that's what Team Stiefel means to me. If you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stiefel, where success meets success.
Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Pretty quiet out there this morning and cold, so just take care on any bridge or overpass. But we have really light traffic, and this is on the Missouri and Illinois side at this hour. So we're really off to a good start. No incidents to report. It really could have been a lot worse yesterday, and therefore it's not as bad today either. I'll keep you posted. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's talk about your health, because we're going to be talking about that coming up here in a minute anyway. And I think that you need to be made sure that if you're a gentleman and you don't regularly go to the doctor, maybe you go get your physical once a year just to see what's going on, you're missing out. You need to be going to Victory Men's Health. VictoryMen'sHealth.com is the website. You can find out all you need to know right there. But I'm telling you, I've been going there for over 6 years now, and what a difference. What a great bunch of people, medical doctors who specialize in men's health. And that's the difference, right? You're not going to a general practitioner who's got patients of all ages and sexes. You're going to doctors who've worked on men's health issues for years. They understand. They get it. They take a blood panel. They can help you with vitamin deficiencies if that's what's hurting you. They can give you supplements for that. They can do hormone optimization, which could include testosterone if you're low in that area. They can deal with sexual health. If you need to lose weight, it's right there for you. It's all in your hands, and it's a phone call away. All you need to do is reach out to Victory Men's Health, make your appointment. They'll take a blood panel, and their doctors or medical professionals will look at your blood panel and prescribe a course of action that's going to make you feel like you again. Check them out online anytime at VictoryMen'sHealth.com. It's never too early to think about going to summer concerts. Tune into the Marc Cox Morning Show every day this week to win Doobie Brothers tickets. They'll be at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater September 4th. Listen and win Doobie Brothers tickets with the Marc Cox Morning Show all this week.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Need a lawyer? Onder wins. Call Onder Law at 314-9-MILLION. That's 314-9-all-zeros. Or go to onderwins.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Smashing his guitar at the end of every segment. Marc Cox. Kim on a whim.
There's just this heartbreaking story about this 12-year-old girl who has been told that she will not be put on the heart transplant list because she's not been vaccinated against COVID-19 and the flu. This is Cincinnati Children's Hospital that is telling her it will not treat this girl. They've been treating this girl for close to 10 years. Her parents adopted her from China when she was 4, knowing that she had this heart issue and that she would be needing a transplant at some point.
Right.
And were obviously hopeful and had no issues getting care up until when the time came to get the heart transplant. And all of a sudden they're saying, you can't do that. And this didn't come out until later yesterday, but it sounds like this girl is a distant relative of J.D. Vance. It says
by marriage, right?
Yeah, it says
Yes.
a distant relative of the VP by marriage through his half-siblings. So a bit of a stretch, but that's the headline that I've started to see.
If you're going to have a connection that's going to pay off for you, that might be a good one.
You know what? I was going to say,
yeah.
if the name recognition will help and he can pull some strings to tell them how absolutely pathetic their rule is, please, by all means, do so. Listen to part of the story when they were talking about. The woman you're going to hear is the mom of this girl.
I called the child's advocate from Cincinnati Children's to see if they could help us with what a religious exemption and so forth. And he came back and said that they said they're not going to change the policy, and this is what it is, and we are more than welcome to go find another hospital if we didn't like it.
Janine says she's frustrated because she says her daughter is healthy other than the heart condition. She says the situation gives her anxiety.
It's not right. It's, we don't believe in doing the vaccination part of it.
We reached out to Cincinnati Children's Hospital about the issue, and a spokesperson sent us this statement. At Cincinnati Children's, clinical decisions are guided by science, research, and best practices. We tailor care plans to each patient in collaboration with their family to ensure the safest, most effective treatment.
You know what I have to say to that? Shame, shame, shame. Shame on you for your disgusting, pathetic policy, and shame on you for your terrible research, because if you actually did your research and looked into what's come out, you would see that they have finally acknowledged that what was sold to people as this very safe COVID-19 vaccine is not. And what the heck, please, someone enlighten me. What the heck does you being vaccinated against COVID-19 and the flu have anything to do with you getting a heart? Seriously, like somebody answer that question for me, because in my mind, there's absolutely no connection.
There's more to the story, because they claim, and it's almost like they're going back and using COVID crisis numbers to make this policy. That's it, because they said that they lost. In the beginning of the pandemic, we had many transplant patients become deathly ill. We lost a number of our transplant patients to COVID-19 because they're more likely to have severe outcomes. The first year after transplant is when they're at the highest risk, and they do have a lifelong risk of severe disease, and transplant patients are dying because of COVID-19.
So let the person make that decision. If they want to take that risk, let them take that risk and tell them, here's what we're seeing. I don't even believe that. I believe there's likely other factors at play, and that maybe they also had COVID, but that wasn't ultimately what did it. But okay, fine. Have them sign a waiver saying, I acknowledge that I could be at a higher risk of COVID-19, whatever. But to tell somebody that you just straight up won't do the heart transplant because of that is just awful.
It's a death sentence. So you're saying basically we're going to condemn you to death and not give you this transplant, because if we did and then you got COVID-19, you might die anyway. Really? I mean, could you imagine being the parent when that news was delivered? I'd want to stand up and throat punch somebody.
I can just imagine what my parents would do in that
gosh.
situation.
Well, I mean, I don't know how many options you have or how many other healthcare systems you can go to that don't have that policy. I mean, that's the key, the big question. They said you're welcome to seek services somewhere else. Where do you go? Do you go to every transplant service in America and try to find one that says, hey, we're going to do this? They probably already got a list of people, so you're far down the list at that point.
Right. I mean, I know they are trying to find a different transplant center. They have a GoFundMe page that, as of yesterday morning, has already raised more than $50,000. And I assume with this story getting as much attention as it is, and rightfully so, I'm guessing it's even more now.
Might be interesting if the head of that hospital gets a phone call from the White House.
Please. Seriously,
saying,
please call J.D. Vance.
If you want any more funding to flow to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, you might want to reconsider this decision.
I mean, this just goes back to the COVID era when patients were being told they couldn't be treated for other things, not just transplants, but other conditions if they were not vaccinated. I mean, it just boggles my mind that a hospital could adopt such a terrible policy that just has no... It's not even backed up by research now. even if they did have this policy, which I think was stupid from the absolute get-go, but let's just say they did, and they felt like they could back it up because you had all this information coming out claiming it was safe, and anyone who said otherwise was silenced. Well, now that's just not the case anymore. So why would they not change their policy? Just like all these companies like Meredith that used to own KMOV when I worked there, they forced it on all of us, obviously, which is why I lost my job. Well, guess what? They, like many other companies, dropped their mandate for all their employees once they realized this was no longer a thing. It was no longer pandemic level, and the vaccine does not work.
Yes. No, I agree. We had that interview on. I was trying to find it the other day with the doctor who's written the book about the Pfizer papers. I'm not immediately finding that, Carl, here, but
Naomi Wolf.
Naomi Wolf, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to get her on the show. We've gone through her publisher to get her on here. She talked about the statistics and how many, particularly young children, had lasting health effects from the vaccine. And her claim is that Pfizer knew it and encouraged people to get it anyway.
Yeah, because they were making, millions and millions of dollars off of it. They say it's free. It's free. Well, no, it's not really free. You might not be paying anything out of pocket that moment that you go get it, but it's still being paid for. Pfizer's not just out of the kindness of their heart saying, you know what, we just really want to help people here. We're going to make sure that everyone gets the shot for free. No charge. That's just bogus. So they are getting paid, buku bucks. Yes. Sharon on Facebook is saying, I'd be suing that hospital to the moon and back. There's many doctors that disagree with that position on the COVID jab. I totally agree, Sharon. I'd be suing as well. The problem, though, is that many of these doctors, in particular, who are tied to these big hospital groups, they have this whole thing of you have to push this down everyone's throats. And if you don't, or if you say anything negative about these vaccines, in particular the COVID vaccine, you're at risk of losing your medical license. So how many people who spent years and hundreds of thousands of dollars working for their degree are going to throw it away because of this vaccine? Now, if you have integrity, maybe you would be, some of them did do that, but I can understand why it's tough. You're the breadwinner of the family. I mean, it's just awful.
How many other times has this happened when the patient in this case didn't happen to have a connection like the Vice President of the United States? I mean, how many times has this happened and you just never hear about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've read headlines about people who have died waiting for a transplant, and you just hope that that's not the outcome with this adorable 12-year-old girl, Adeline Deal.
We're not talking about somebody's job. We're talking about somebody's life.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making these decisions. It's not unlike COVID when the hospital systems in St. Louis and in St. Louis County, you could not go get ivermectin or a prescription for it from any doctor connected with Barnes Jewish or any of the local hospital systems, because it came down from on high that we're not accepting that as part of protocol. That's what's referred to it as. And I would argue that across this country they cost hundreds of thousands of lives.
And really, my take on that would be that Big Pharma's not profitable off a lot of these medications, and that's why they don't
Pennies
want
on the
them.
dollar.
They don't want it pushed. I mean, they're just there's so many just dark connections. Everyone's in bed with everyone, there, and it's just anytime you have something like this that's being pushed on the American people when they're trying to say it's in the name of health, you really need to trace the money. You need to look at the study, who funded the study, who put the money into it, why. I mean, those are the first questions you need to ask. And that's one of the best things I was taught growing up, was not what to think per se. It was how to think for myself, how to be willing to go against the grain. That was so incredibly valuable to learn as a young kid and growing up into adulthood. And you can see from my life and the way I've lived it that's still how I feel. I'm not going to, if you go left, I'm more than willing to go right, and I'm not saying it's not scary sometimes or I haven't hesitated, but we have to be willing to push back on these things and stand up for truth and what's right. And even though it gets ugly, at least you can walk away from a scenario saying, I still have my integrity. I stood up for what's right.
And people appreciate that. They do. Hey, by the way, coming up, speaking of people standing up for things, I want to get to this big win for Donald Trump yesterday with this judge, right, who said, guess what? You could go ahead and carry through with that buyout. 75,000 federal workers have already signed up for it. The deadline was last night. We'll get to some more of those details for you coming up in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
On the roads this morning, we look good, and we've got light traffic out there again. If you are just headed out the door, you're going to be happily surprised, and you may not even be surprised. We look great. Quiet through North County and looking good. Eastbound 70, 64, 44. Out west into downtown, no delays on the Illinois side. We really are off to a good start. It's pretty cold, though. Watch out for slick spots if there has been some refreezing. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
You know, hopefully you didn't suffer too much from that horrible winter weather we had yesterday, which really wasn't horrible after all. But I did tell you then that it is really cold. And if you end up having your power go out or a power failure, you are going to wish you'd listened to me and called Grasser Electric, because they can modify your electrical panel, or they can set you up with one of those whole house generators so you don't have to worry about your outside generator, your little one. They will put a full-size backup generator in your backyard. These things, they're attractive. They're just you can hide them behind some bushes, and when the power goes off, these things kick on, and you are cooking with gas. You've got lights, heat, your refrigerator, deep freeze, all that stuff keeps right on humming along. Grasser does this all the time for people. Call them up, ask them about the backup generators. If you have any electrical problems at all, from a light switch to hanging a new chandelier, they can help you get that set up and done correctly. They've been doing it since 1975. They've been longtime supporters of this radio station, and we really appreciate that. Love Shane and Josh Grasser out there. Great human beings. It's GrasserElectric.com, 636-441-5200.
We know you've got an interesting take on things. You can tell us by clicking the microphone button next to Listen Live when you're on the Odyssey app. Record a short message for us to hear when you tune into 97.1 on the Odyssey app.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today and start the year off knowing you're giving your liver some well-deserved relief. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
The 25th annual Heat Up St. Louis Rise and Shine benefit at participating Hardee's takes place Friday, February 14th. Join us as we rise and shine to keep neighbors in Missouri and Illinois warm this winter. Get a Hardee's sausage biscuit or egg biscuit for $1 and consider leaving some extra dough with our volunteers. Have a heart. Heat a home Friday, February 14th at participating Hardee's. For more information, go to heatupstlouis.org.
There's no better time to give your body nutritional support with Neovitin than right now. Start the new year off right with Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins. Neovitin 50 Plus multivitamins give you a nutritional base with B vitamins to support energy, vitamins A and C for immune support, and our physician-formulated proprietary 4-ingredient blend for daily support that you won't find in any other multivitamin. Find Neovitin at your local Schnucks, Deerbergs, and online at neovitin.com.
Always giving you more. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I think we're greatly disappointed in any Republican who chooses willfully to vote against the president's exceptionally qualified cabinet nominees and picks to lead his America First administration. Not a single Democrat swayed from voting against President Biden's nominees, and we know how many of them turned out. They turned out to be atrocious at their jobs, leaving America much worse than they were when they took the oath of office. And so I've said it repeatedly from this podium. I addressed it at the beginning of my remarks. We expect all Republicans to vote, to stay tough and strong, vote for President Trump's nominees so we can get to work and continue to work very hard to implement this president's agenda.
Yeah, Caroline Leavitt continuing to be strong in the press briefing room. Tulsi Gabbard approved yesterday and sworn in by Pam Bondi. And the RFK vote is today. The countdown is on to when the Senate will have to vote this morning. And here's the embarrassing thing to me as an observation here is that I watched these confirmation hearings when Biden was selecting his cabinet. A lot of these were 60, 70, 80 votes for some of Biden's nominees. Every single nominee for Donald Trump has had maybe one Democrat vote in support of the nominee, and all of the rest of them as a block have voted no. For no apparent reason. Now, maybe if we do have any reason to be worried about Tulsi Gabbard, might have been the fact that she was all in at one point for Bernie Sanders. She endorsed him. She left the Democratic Party over the way he was treated. He voted against her in the Senate. She left her party because of the way they treated that man, and he didn't have the intestinal fortitude to stand up and vote for his friend because he's such a party apparatchik is what he is. They all are. The Republicans could take a lesson from that. Honestly, when Democrats have power, they vote as a block, and they use it like a blunt force object. And Republicans refuse to do that. I mean, so far, they've enough of them have voted that we've gotten over the 51 votes necessary, but we've still got people like Mitch McConnell who flipped over and voted against Gabbard. I mean, seriously, this is what we've got to deal with in Washington D.C., and it sucks, quite frankly. Let's talk about the big win yesterday, and we're going to hear more today about who Trump's going after for fraud and all that. But Donald Trump walked in and he said, "Listen, we need to pare down government." And how do we do that? Well, why don't we look at offering buyouts to federal employees? Because, see, the Democrats were worried. They tried to put in civil service rules so that Donald Trump couldn't get in office and suddenly fire everyone. So they tried to put limits in place to keep him from doing that. He did an end run around them, and instead of firing people, he offered them buyouts if they would voluntarily leave government service after he ordered them back into the office. 75,000 took him up on it by the deadline last night at 7 o'clock. And now a judge who initially put a hold on that because the labor unions all went to court and tried to claim that it was unconstitutional. Well, the judge ruled yesterday they have no standing. So it's full speed ahead. Now, I heard Gordon Deal bring up this morning, well, it's possible that if this funding bill doesn't pass in March, that those jobs won't be funded and they can't pay them as promised through September. Well, of course that's going to pass. It's going to pass because they won't even need cloture to do it. They'll just put it in one of these big bills. Everybody will vote on it. They don't even have to go to the Senate. And the Democrats have done it before. The Republicans are going to do it. I want you to listen to how much the Democratic Party has changed since 1997. This is Al Gore and Bill Clinton talking about what they were going to do when they got in office in terms of cutting the budget.
Cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
I've read it, and where it says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending.
Of course, you recognize that voice. So Clinton, Gore, and Obama all talked a big game and then went out and set up this bureaucracy, particularly under the Obama administration, where they could funnel your taxpayer dollars to their buddies in these liberal progressive NGOs. And then Lord knows where the money went. It lost all accountability once it left the federal government and went to these NGOs. They could spend it however they wanted. They could grease palms left and right. And my guess is this afternoon in this news conference, we're going to find out, we're going to get a glimpse into just maybe whose palm was greased. And I can't wait. Keep it up, baby. We're going to be back in just a minute. We'll talk more about the debt crisis for individuals in this country when we come back.
What would you give for a child you loved? To make their wish come true? To help them fight a critical illness? Just imagine what you'd do. You see, wishes are so powerful, and you can make them real. They can give a child back their childhood, even change the way they feel. Every single one of us can make the stars align, because when we come together, hope and joy will shine. Wishes need stars like you. Visit Make-A-Wish at wish.org.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. When you're the victim of a serious car accident, not choosing the best lawyer will cost you. It costs you time, it costs you money, settling too quickly with the insurance company. But here's the good news. Since you don't pay unless we win, you can afford the very best, and that's Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-500-5000 for a no-charge conversation. It costs you nothing to call, but may cost you everything if you don't. Call 314-500-5000.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Hamas says it will release more hostages. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 3 of them on Saturday as part of the ongoing Gaza ceasefire. Days after Hamas suggested it might not set them free, which Fox's Greg Palcott reports from Tel Aviv prompted.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said if our hostages aren't released Saturday, then the ceasefire is off, and the full force of the Israeli military will finish off Hamas.
President Trump warned Hamas to release all the hostages by Saturday or all hell could break out. The president's also making a push to end Russia's war in Ukraine.
I think they have to make peace.
Their people are being killed, and I think they have to make peace.
The president says after his phone call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, they'll meet in person next. There was also a Trump call with Ukraine's president, but it's unclear how involved Vladimir Zelensky will be in the talks to end the war. A win for President Trump trying to slash the federal workforce. Fox's Jared Halpern's at the White House.
A federal judge in Boston has lifted a temporary order that blocked President Trump's plan to shrink the federal workforce by offering deferred resignations. Judge George O'Toole ruled a group of labor unions does not have legal standing to challenge the program. The offer was sent to about 2 million federal employees, allowing them to resign now and be paid through September.
And about 75,000 workers have accepted that so far. Tulsi Gabbard's the director of national intelligence.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
Sworn in hours after the Senate confirmed Gabbard over the objection of all Democrats who also don't like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., but can't block him either when Republicans plan to confirm Kennedy this morning as Health and Human Services Secretary. And Fox's Doug Luzader reports another controversial nominee will face tough questions this morning.
Linda McMahon, Trump's nominee for Secretary of Education, appears for her confirmation hearing. Democrats and teachers unions are hoping to derail her.
We are not going to let them to destroy the Department of Education.
Independent Senator Bernie Sanders at a rally in Washington against the Trump push to eliminate the department. America's listening to Fox News.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant at home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Good morning, I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. It is just downright cold, 21 degrees right now at 6:03. Thankfully, no injuries reported after a plane slid off the runway at Lambert International Airport on Wednesday. The incident happened just before 11 a.m. That plane was coming in from Washington Dulles International Airport. The plane, carrying 27 people, including the crew, slid into a section of grass. The Federal Aviation Administration is now investigating. A Baldwin man is accused of raping 5 women he met on dating apps, and police say there could be even more victims. According to investigators, 28-year-old Yaya Mala went by John on the apps. The first assault allegedly happened in 2023. The most recent, just last week. Malia is now facing more than a dozen charges, including rape, kidnapping, and sodomy. St. Louis Public Schools announced it's hired a new bus company after the last company terminated its contract early in 2024. Zoom will provide 220 buses. All will be air-conditioned, and both the parents and the schools will be able to track where the buses are. The district has been using rideshare companies and cabs in some cases to try to get students to class in the meantime. The cost of the new contract with Zoom will cost the district $30 million. 6:04 and 21 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, Mizzou beat Oklahoma 82-58 last night. They'll be playing Georgia on Saturday. Also on Saturday, a pretty big game for Illinois. They will be facing number 11 Michigan State. Coming up tomorrow, though, SLU versus Loyola. Tip-off for that game, 6 o'clock. 21 degrees now coming up on 6:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We've got really light traffic at this hour. This report brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. And it's cold, so watch out for refreezing on any wet, slick spots, especially bridges and overpasses. But at this hour, traffic is so light, we really are in good shape. Now, that's on the Missouri and Illinois sides. So off to a good start here yesterday. Could have been so much worse. And today is starting off on a good foot. So I'll keep you posted if something comes up. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorstlewis.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We are in a windy and cold northwest flow today. Clouds giving way to some sunshine. It's a bundle-up day from start to finish. 27 for the high. Tonight, clear, cold. Light winds down to 12. Friday, partly sunny. Very cold start, but windy and a little better Friday afternoon. 38, still cold. Rain developing on Friday night. We stay above freezing. Periods of rain on Saturday, and then lots of cold back here on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Time right now, 6:06. Temperature, if you're just leaving the house, 21 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Listen to both sides.
The bottom line is,
I respect that. We don't agree.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Just to find a voice.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
I don't know how to put this.
Marc Cox.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, it adds excitement, doesn't it, folks?
All right, good morning, Patriots. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show. In here alongside Kim St. Ange, Carl Middleman, Susan Thomas, and Ethan Bright. And Susan will have the latest on your what could be challenging drive to work this morning is what we thought we'd be saying this morning. But instead, it sounds like the meteorologists, maybe they over-expected what was going to happen yesterday. Would that be a good way of looking? I'm trying to be gentle here.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I mean, you don't want a meteorologist to underestimate what's happening, and you think it's going to be nothing, and then it's awful.
True.
But you also, obviously, you want them to be accurate, but also you don't want them to think, oh, this is going to be crazy snowmageddon. Not that they said that. I think the concern I heard the most was freezing rain and sleet.
It's a guessing game,
yeah.
And I thought Dave Murray, by the time we had him on at 8:45 yesterday, said pretty clearly, tell me if I'm misremembering this, I'm reducing any expectation of serious snow to maybe 1 to 2 inches, and I'd say we got 1 inch probably in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And then mush on the road, and he said initially it's all going to melt pretty quickly, and the danger would be at freezing later. I thought Dave was probably as close to getting it right as anybody, and by middle of the afternoon, I had to go get my son and take him somewhere. He was the roads were fine. They're a little wet, right? Never really saw the freezing rain. Saw a little bit of snow falling, and the kids got a free day of school. They got a free day off school yesterday. That was an overreaction. All the road signs said winter weather. Don't drive or stay home or stay off the roads. Did you see those?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is you have those drivers who never, ever slow down. And even though you have ice, they don't care. So you could hit that black ice. My sister years ago she was driving back to college and she hit black ice and had a head-on crash. And you don't know, totaled her car. I mean, it was scary. And you just don't know when something like that could happen, because you don't see it until it's too late and then you're spinning.
I did a 360 in a Mustang GT one time.
Because you were in a parking lot doing. I thought you were
No.
doing donuts.
I was driving up I-75 near Dayton, Ohio, and I hit a bridge that had black ice on it, an overpass, and my car did a complete 360. I thought I was going to die. I was doing 70 miles an hour.
Was anyone else?
There was nobody around me. It was just pure luck.
It's a blessing.
And because of all those donuts I had done in parking lots at high school, I kind of knew how to steer out of it.
So kids, go practice your donuts.
So instead of overreacting, I steered with it at first, and then it flipped me all the way around. And then by the time I got off the overpass, my wheels were pointing forward, and I just kept right on going straight. It was surreal. It was like, Jesus, take the wheel, but you don't want to take your hands off the wheel.
That is a weird thing where they say you don't fight against it with the wheel. You don't full blown turn your wheel. It's just ever so slightly, right?
You just got to practice it. That's what people don't do. They're that once you've practiced it, it makes it you have a little better chance of steering out of it. I'll just put it that way. I don't know that it's going to be a problem this morning. I didn't see anything on my way in.
My drive was fine.
So hopefully you're not going to have any problems either. All right, coming up a little later, personal debt numbers are off the charts. I don't know if you realize this or not, and how much people are paying in interest rates on short-term credit. It's incredible. We're going to talk to Vance Barse about that coming up at the bottom of the hour, and maybe some ideas on if you know somebody that's going through that, like what are the options. Prices went up 15, 20% during the Biden years. People still had the same expenses, if not greater expenses. And they put it on credit cards, and now people have an incredible amount of personal debt, which unfortunately, like the federal government, you can't just ignore. So we're going to talk to him this morning at about 6:20. We'll get to In Other News this morning at 6:45. Jim Talent coming up a little bit later in the show, and of course Shannon Bream. Anxious to talk to her about this judge's ruling on Trump's culling of the federal workforce. Is that the good way of putting it? That's what they said about all those chickens who died, wasn't it? They culled them. Not that Trump's killing anyone. Don't. Now that'll be the headline tomorrow. Local radio host says Trump is going to kill federal employees.
I feel like we need to have a Sarah McLachlan moment for all these millions of chickens that have been killed.
Well, we're going to talk to an expert about that a little later, too. I've invited Richard Stern on the show this morning in the 7 o'clock hour about the egg shortage. Because, you can go to the store and get chicken breasts. There's no shortage of those, but you can't get eggs. Or you can get eggs, but you're just going to pay more for them. We're going to talk to him about when all this madness comes to an end and we start getting a little bit back to normal on that. So all that's coming up in just a minute. Carl Middleman, let's get
the Marc Cox short list.
I don't want to cross my fingers. I think Democrats should join the club and then have more credibility to actually raise the alarm about constitutional issues. Right now, it's the boy who cried wolf.
Oh, yeah, you know who that is? That's Dean Phillips. Remember him? He's the guy that tried to challenge Joe Biden, and they all hated him for it. And then, of course, Biden drops out of the race anyway. That guy got far more votes than Kamala Harris ever did, and he's on the outside looking in. He thinks Dems are making a big mistake right now.
Do you view Ukraine as an equal member of this peace process?
It's an interesting question. I think they have to make peace.
Yeah, Donald Trump there yesterday announcing he's been talking to Putin. He's going to meet with him at some point. He did have a phone call with Zelensky, and for some reason there's some concern that he's not going to include Zelensky in the peace talks. Like, how would that be a thing?
Do you think calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick.
Kate Baldwin, look what we've driven the media to, right? Yesterday we had Dana Bash commenting on Elon Musk's new Twitter handle, and today we've got Kate Baldwin talking about male genitalia. They're losing their minds.
This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me.
Wow. Thank you, Pam Bondi. You know whose name was floated? Our Attorney General here in the state of Missouri was floated as a possible candidate. And I think if Bailey had been named to that position, you'd be hearing very similar comments from him as well. I love the fact that Pam Bondi has rolled into office. She's been in office less than a week, and she already held a news conference announcing the fact that she's going to file charges against the governor of New York and the attorney general up there. If you missed this yesterday, I mean, it's pretty incredible. Go ahead and play that one, Carl. Play cut number 7, please.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry we were a little bit late. I was in the West Wing swearing in Tulsi Gabbard, and so I just came straight back here. So thanks for being patient with us with the delay. We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Marc Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, who are the angel moms?
So the angel moms are the mothers of U.S. citizens, of children who've died as a result of the decisions made by these lefties to either let criminal illegal aliens out of jail or let criminal illegal aliens out of jail and then give them driver's license. That's why she included the DMV guy. And she had an angel mom step up there and talk about how she can never get her child back, and she wants to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else. Go to cut 8, Carl, please.
No other parent should suffer by having their child murdered by somebody that shouldn't be here. And I'm going to continue, sharing it, and for Kayla, and also for others. Thank you.
Wow. That poor woman. I call her a poor woman because I couldn't imagine, first of all, having suffered through the loss of a child and then having to stand up in front of 30 TV cameras and talk about it like that. But she's angry, and she should be angry. In any of these states that are handing out driver's license to illegal aliens, even if they don't think they're illegal, they're here illegally, because the Biden administration's a little sleight of hand on the fact that, well, they applied for amnesty. They're just waiting for an answer. No, they're here illegally, and they should have been denied amnesty at the border because it's a joke, like through your little app. Good for Pam Bondi. That is fantastic news for all Americans. There's no doubt about that. Hey, if you missed it yesterday, Eric Burleson, our guest often on Friday mornings, he's going to join us again tomorrow. He was on fire at that meeting they held yesterday at the Transparency Subcommittee. We're going to get some of that coming up. Stay tuned.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We look good on the roads this morning. It's just really cold. Watch out. You might encounter a slick spot or two. But we have such light traffic at this hour. We look good throughout the area from North County all the way down through South County and Jefferson County. Yep, we are in good shape. Now, this is on the Missouri and Illinois side, both. Of course, on the Illinois side, 255 remains closed, 157 through Route 15. But no delays right now on the alternates. We look good. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
I kind of choose to look on the bright side when it comes to, spring. It's not going to be that long. I heard Dave Murray say yesterday that he's going to do his spring forecast here soon, but he agrees with the groundhog, just purely by chance, that we're going to have a longer winter than we would like. But when spring gets here, it's good. Things are going to green up. You're going to look outside at your trees and think, gosh, I wish I'd gotten that branch pruned back in the winter when it was still the time to do those things. Don't put it off anymore. Just call Hanson's Tree Service. They're going to send an expert to your yard, a certified arborist who will look at all of the plants and shrubs and trees in your yard and give you advice on it, right? Like when they were at my house, they even found a neighbor's tree that was starting to show some signs of disease, and we were able to give them a heads up about that. Just things they can see that you and I can't. And then if you need a limb taken down, you need an entire tree taken down, Hanson's has done that for my family on more than one occasion, and you can't even tell it was ever there. So call them at 636-379-1830. That's 636-379-1830. Tell them you heard Marc Cox talking about it. They're going to give you a 10% winter discount through the month of March when you book your service dealing with your trees. Online at hansonstree.com.
The minds and voices that shape America are talking here.
This is Brian Kilmeade. This is Griff Jenkins from Fox News. This is Jimmy Fallon.
Stream it on the Odyssey app.
97.1 FM Talk.
97.1 on the Odyssey app on your phone.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Triton Exteriors, specifically my friend Tim Nesbitt, who is the owner. He is from the customer service business, 20 years in the restaurant business. So the answer is yes. What's the question? Anything you need. Hospitality, personal service. We're upscale. We're a James Hardy company. Roofing and siding and gutters and great value. Tim just texted me and he beat the next closest bid by $15,000 just this week. You can call 314-717-1159 or triton-stl.com.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. And now, more sweet intro music.
Well, some of us monkey around with credit card debt for sure. Get this. At the start of this year, it's estimated Americans' total credit card debt was approaching $1.7 trillion. Now, that's pennies if you're a government bureaucrat, but to everybody else, that's a lot of money because we don't have one of those printing presses in our house. At least most of us don't. It's a big problem, and we've got Vance Barse with us this morning. He's a financial strategist, and he works in the financial services industry, of course, to talk more about this. Vance, good morning.
Well, good morning, Mark. Thank you very much for having me on the show.
Yeah, you know, I've worked in that industry for about 4 years, and I know this to be true. I mean, and a lot of people don't talk about it, but the best secret that a lot of people have is that they've got $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on credit cards. Maybe they move the balances around to somebody offering them 0% interest for a while, but if they're ignoring it, they're paying what, 28% interest on this stuff?
Yes, they often can, and congratulations. It only took you 4 years to get out of the industry. I'm pushing 20, and clearly you make better decisions than me, Mark. But when we look at the current interest rate environment, it is not unusual for credit cards to have a 24 to 28% APR, and that is taking good money and lighting it on fire, my friend.
Yeah, it is. And I don't, I understand the price pressures people have faced the last couple of years, the last few years. The price of everything's gone up, but you still have to live. And a lot of people have done that by putting it on these credit cards. What's your advice to people when you come across a client that's got $30,000 in credit card debt?
Cut that bad debt like a bad habit. It's so expensive to pay, we'll call it around 25% interest on these credit card balances, and it literally makes no sense. And to your point, it's really frustrating because so many Americans, when COVID hit, their industry shut down. They had no option but to spend down their savings. Millions of people had to tap their liquidity on hand, and their only option, Mark, was to turn to their credit cards. And they were riddled with bad debt, and they're still trying to climb out of that hole. And worst, add insult to injury, the growth that we have seen economically has really been in this K-shaped type of recovery where the top half of wage earners have continued to do well, leaving the bottom half to struggle. So the only option for so many people has been to turn to that debt. But restructuring that debt, consolidating credit cards on a lower interest rate, credit card, and a number of other options exist. But the key takeaway is get out of that bad debt as soon as possible.
Vance, you go to any store now and they're trying to ask you if you want to open up a credit card and save whatever the 15% or whatever on your purchase for that day. And thankfully my husband's in finance, so I know to say absolutely not. But for people who might have 10, 15 or so credit cards because they just keep opening them, what do you tell them? Because I also heard that it's not good for your credit score if you're just constantly closing all of these credit cards.
Well, Cam, that is absolutely correct. And I love a jaunty tune. I tell them, no to the no, no, no. Do not proceed. Do not pass go. Do not collect, or in this case, pay $200 because future you will regret current you for making that decision.
Yeah, that's true. We're talking to Vance Barse here, who's worked in the industry here for a long time for financial services. And so what is a good option? Is it take, if you owe $20,000, do you take $20,000 out of your 401k and just pay it off? Because I mean that's saving you 28 or 30% interest that you're having to pay a year. It may take you forever to pay it off, right?
So that is a brilliant looking question. The problem with that is that if the individual is under 59 and a half, they will be paying the tax on taking that money out prior to age 59 and a half, number one. Number two, when you take a distribution from a qualified retirement plan, and here comes the first acronym, QRP, that distribution is taxable at earned income tax rates, which for certain folks can be a very tax inefficient way of tapping liquidity. And thirdly, once you take that money out, unless it's vis-a-vis a loan, you can't simply put it back. You have to refund that 401k by way of earned wages. So having a rainy day fund that can help you strategically and methodically over time pay down the credit card, consolidating those credit cards to lower interest credit cards. And sometimes you have to turn to the bank of mom and dad. I have two kids, and I know that story all too well. Although my kids are 7 and 5. And they're like, can we get a toy today at Kroger? And I'm like, well, it's within our budget because it's never too early to start budgeting.
I love that. Vance, thanks for your time this morning, my friend. Where can people find you?
You can Google Vance Barse or go to YouTube and type in Vance Barse. I do significant amounts of media coverage and lectures. And thank you so much, Marc and Kim.
You bet. Appreciate it, buddy. All right, we're back here in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
Just one name you need to know when it comes to heating, cooling, and insulation. That is Air Comfort Service. AirComfortService.com. You can schedule service right online. You can find out more details on their maintenance plan, which is fantastic. Listen, they came out and they took care of me, and they will take care of you as well because they do 24-hour emergency service. I love what they do at Air Comfort. They'll get you scheduled. They'll get somebody out there to take care of the problem. Maybe you just need a second opinion, right? Maybe somebody's come in and they're trying to beat you up and tell you that you absolutely need this or that, or we're going to have to get a new system for you. That may not be the case. They'll give you a free second opinion at Air Comfort Service. They've been doing this for 55 years. Winners of the Better Business Bureau Torch Award, which tells you something. Call them at 314-513-0091. Again, 314-513-0091. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go to aircomfortservice.com.
Is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
O'Reilly Veriscan is a free check engine light testing program that pulls from over 600 million vehicle scans confirmed by ASE certified technicians to provide a simple report and possible fixes. Available exclusively at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We are in a windy and cold northwest flow today. Clouds giving way to some sunshine. It's a bundle-up day from start to finish. 27 for the high. Tonight, clear, cold. Light winds down to 12. Friday, partly sunny. Very cold start, but windy and a little better Friday afternoon. 38, still cold. Rain developing on Friday night. We stay above freezing. Periods of rain on Saturday, and then lots of cold back here on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 21 degrees now at 6:30. Charges have been dropped against the driver who dragged a woman under his car for 3 blocks in the Grove neighborhood. Ellie Bentley was hiding from gunfire behind the car in February of 2024 when the driver took off, dragging her. Well, he was charged with leaving the scene of an injury accident. St. Louis prosecutors say they do not have enough evidence to prove the driver knowingly took off after that accident. The St. Louis County Animal Shelter will restart a volunteer program after the county takes back control of that shelter next week. At this point, it's not clear how the program will work, though the county says at this point all volunteers can reapply with the county. Newcomers are also welcome. The health department plans to announce details about volunteer opportunities sometime next week. In sports, Mizzou beat Oklahoma 82-58 last night. They'll be playing Georgia Saturday. Also on Saturday, a pretty big game for Illinois. They will be facing number 11 Michigan State. But coming up tomorrow, SLU takes on Loyola at 6 o'clock. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
On the roads this morning, it's been pretty quiet, and that continues to be the case. If you are on the Illinois side, it's nice and quiet over there. We've got light traffic in general, and things are looking good. I've been looking on the Missouri side, too, at 6440 at Lindbergh, just here with the cameras, and traffic is rolling there in both directions. We really look good and have light volume throughout the entire area this morning, at least at this hour. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Marc Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
When Greg Hammonds at greghammonds.com talks to people about health insurance, they tell him, 1, my premiums are too much. Number 2, my deductible is so high I never meet it. And 3, my doctor doesn't accept my plan anymore. Greg offers private health insurance plans that are not on the ACA marketplace. You can pick your doctors. For most claims, you won't even pay a deductible, and they're 30 to 60% lower cost than Obamacare. One more thing, there's no tax penalty at the end of the year. Greg even has plans that are guaranteed acceptance and available all year long, so you can enroll today. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg at 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions, so it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
All right, so a good friend of mine wanted to buy a new handgun. He knew exactly what he wanted, a Glock 19, and I've got him set up to go up to the Range St. Louis West, where he's going to pick one out this week. I recommend this to all my friends. Fantastic place, family-owned, veteran-owned. They're at 14803 Manchester Road in Baldwin. Hands down, best training in the area. I don't think you can beat it anywhere. They got a lot of great stuff coming up here in February. You can celebrate the Second Amendment there. They've got Brownell's 2A Day coming up at the range. There'll be free lanes all day that day. You need to call them and find out more about all of that. And I'm looking at their training schedule. You know, you in many cases, they've got, of course, CCW and all that stuff. A lot of these sell out. The ones for a lot of this week, they're sold out already. Some space in the defensive handgun class that's coming up. I see that. Tactical triage and treatment again coming up. It looks like this Sunday. There's some room left in one of those. So talk to them about that, because you can never be too prepared. And you will love working with my friends at the Range St. Louis West. Just go online to therangestl.com.
This station is not conducting a test. This is real. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
The great sportsman like Tom Ackerman.
Baseball's really not a hard sport.
It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
It's like powered by coffee this morning.
Sports, sponsored by McDonald's, reminding you to round up your total for Ronald McDonald House charities on your next order.
All right, Tom Ackerman is in the house this morning. Great to have him in here. And boy, the Mizzou Tigers, they keep on rolling. Slight setback the other night, but you know, when you lose to a top 5 team by a point, that's still not going to hurt you too bad in the standings.
No, it's not. They lost to 2 top 10 teams last week at Tennessee and then at home against Texas A&M. A&M's really good. They're like that one team that nobody talks about that could be very dangerous in March.
Right.
And Missouri lost to both of those. And then came out last night and they slaughtered Oklahoma. They beat them 82-58. Oklahoma started off really hot, but they've had a couple of these games where they just laid an egg. And last night, that was exactly what happened. Missouri just rolled them. Mark Mitchell looked great. The whole lineup, Caleb Grill, Tony Perkins. Missouri has a really, really good basketball team, and I think a team in the SEC that you're going to have to deal with. But the SEC, really from top to bottom, as we've talked about, is phenomenal. They have 4 of the top 5 teams in the country. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Alabama. Number 1, Auburn. Number 3, Florida. Number 5, Tennessee, who got beat by Kentucky.
Thank you for pointing that out. Kim never reports that score.
That's okay. She leaves that out.
I will never report that.
On the same night, out of nowhere, Indiana having lost, 5 in a row and struggling this year, still kind of on the outskirts of the NCAA tournament. They go up to Michigan State, and Tom Izzo, the head coach of Michigan State, 1 win away from breaking Bob Knight's all-time record of Big Ten wins. And Indiana comes in there and says, "Not today, buddy."
Thank you.
And
Not today, Satan.
They went up there and they beat them 71-67. It was a win of the year so far,
no
and it
kidding.
put us right back into the NCAA tournament discussion, which was awesome. So I just love college hoops. I love how it's unpredictable. I love who would have thought that Mike Woodson, who announced that he's stepping down at the end of the year, Indiana's already looking for a new coach. He goes into Tom Izzo's house and beats him. I love that. And I want to believe that Bob Knight up there had something to do with that.
Yeah.
Not today, buddy. You're not breaking my record against my team.
It's like Coach K losing in his last home game to North Carolina,
Absolutely.
right? They went into his home court and beat him. That's saying something.
Yeah, I
That's
love
a
that
statement.
stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So, the SEC is wide open, and anybody could win that tournament. And then once you get into the NCAA tournament, you're going to have to deal with SEC teams. But
Oh, my gosh,
it's going to be a good tournament. I think there are some probably sneaky teams in there that'll make a run. I just love March Madness so much. I just think it's an amazing run. I love college basketball to begin with. I think that I wish more people paid more attention to the regular season because these venues are incredible. I mean, you're talking about some of the best atmospheres in all of sports, and it's hard to win in those places, and when they do, it's so special. So I think it's great.
There are going to be teams with 20 to 25 wins who are 6 and 7 seeds, maybe 10 seeds in this tournament. It's going to be incredible.
I think there's a team that came in here this week, George Mason, who barely clipped SLU. SLU took him to overtime, and George Mason snuck out of here with the victory. That's a really good team. I mean, they're 20-5. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. That's an example of a team that maybe people don't know about. George Mason, or also out of the A-10, you could have VCU or SLU could win the A-10 tournament. They're good enough to do it.
Yeah.
Dayton, another team that's really, really tough. One of those teams will get into the NCAA tournament as the A-10 champion in their tournament, and they're going to make a run because people don't plan for them and don't see them every day, and they are problematic. I mean, like George Mason has Katie Johnson on their team. Katie Johnson was a star at Auburn, but he transferred to George Mason, and he still looks like the Katie Johnson at Auburn. I mean, he's exploding to the basket. He's making clutch plays at the end of the game. College basketball is fascinating because people start to discover these teams and these unsung heroes, out of nowhere. It's pretty cool.
I love it. What are we? So I know I want to talk Cardinals for a minute because I've seen some reports out of the camps already.
We did have a big story break overnight. Yes.
Oh, you did.
Well, Alex Bregman signing with the Red Sox, so there's a domino effect there. So Alex Bregman, 3 years, $120 million with the Red Sox, takes Boston out of the Nolan Arenado running in terms of a trade. So now where does he go? I mean, most likely.
What do you think he does? Yeah.
Most likely the Cardinals don't trade him. I mean, they don't have a partner. Arenado, he's going to show up to camp on Sunday, and it'll be a little awkward because the Cardinals have said publicly that they were trying to trade him, and then they couldn't find anyone to trade.
He wanted to be traded, right? Like he didn't even want to resign.
If he was going to be traded, he wanted to go to
He's under contract, so he said he would go along with the trade. And so they tried to trade him to Houston, and he rejected it.
Yeah.
Because he has that power in his contract. So then, that he wants obviously to go to a team that he can win and win the World Series. But the number of teams that needed him were dwindling by the day, and as Alex Bregman's contract negotiations dragged out forever, that had to happen first. Well, it's happened right before camp starts. So now, where's he going to go? I mean, there aren't a lot of teams out there. There's, some talk that maybe the Cardinals could talk to the Yankees one more time to see if he could go there. But it looks to me like he's going to show up to camp as a Cardinal and play as a Cardinal this year, at least for now, unless they find a trading partner. And then by the trade deadline, that could change because at the trade deadline, an injury happens here, an injury happens there. Teams start to look for a third baseman. Well, Nolan Arenado is available. The only thing would be if the Cardinals are in contention somehow at that point, they might not want to trade him. They might be like, well, wait a minute, now we're in the race, so we're not going to deal him. So it's a very interesting situation they put themselves in. My hope is, of course, and I think this is the case, Nolan's a pro. He wants to be great no matter where he is. He likes the Cardinals, so he's going to show up, be a professional about it, say, hey, look, no hard feelings. I'm here. Let's go play.
Yeah, I don't know that Major League Baseball players really hold that stuff against the teams anymore. But while I've got you here for another minute or two, any thoughts on the Jim Edmonds situation? I mean, broadcasters come and go, but as he went out the door...
Yeah, I guess I haven't talked to you about that.
We really haven't. He had some negative things to say about how he had been treated by the Cardinals, he felt.
Yeah, to me it was just Jimmy being Jimmy. I mean, he always just lets it fly, and he doesn't really, it's just the way that he is. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he says things maybe that, don't get taken very well. What he said, I'm not going to say isn't true because it's how he feels, But, I mean, Ozzie Smith showed up to spring training yesterday. I mean, he was out there on the fields in Jupiter doing just fine. I mean, he's out there working with Mason Wynn and wearing a uniform and all that stuff. He's going to be down there. So, I think this is a little bit more about Jim not really feeling it anymore as a broadcaster and wanting to do that anymore. He aired it out in an interview, and I think everybody moves on. I mean, the family members, as we all know, sometimes a family member feels disgruntled or unloved or whatever, and you end up coming back together. Edmonds is family. I would guess that he'll be at opening day wearing the red jacket, and it'll all blow over because it's Jimmy being Jimmy. I love Jimmy. I loved working with him on the TV side. He treated me incredibly well, and he was loved up in that booth.
Sure.
I mean, everyone loved him. Jimmy walked in the door, so it just is what it is. It's okay.
Sad. Do you need to run?
I do have to go do a sportscast.
I thought you had to leave here. I was trying to watch the clock.
I'd love to hang more, but I got to go back to the other station.
All right. Well, thank you.
Appreciate
you. Tom Ackerman there this morning. Yeah, I hated to see that. I met Edmonds a time or two over the years, for sure. But his comments were that he didn't feel welcome, I think is what he said.
Yeah, I saw that there was some negative feedback with what he said.
Some bad feelings there.
You know what? This is kind of off topic, but I will have to share on my Facebook page soon a picture that I found going through pictures for my mom. I found a picture from, I think it was October of 2000. And Tom Ackerman emceed the grand opening of my parents' clinic called Nutrition Clinic. It was one of the very first things he ever emceed working for KMOX. And I have pictures of him standing at the podium.
25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't changed a bit.
I would have been a kid,
amazing.
Obviously, when I would have met him. And then who would have ever thought all these years later that we'd be working together?
Yeah, I know. That's fantastic.
Well, you have to share that when you
Yeah.
when you feel comfortable doing it. It's
I'm sure people would love to see that. That's awesome. All right, coming up, we're going to get to you in other news here in a couple minutes. Next hour, any idea that there's an end in sight to this egg shortage? I don't know how many eggs you eat. We eat them fairly regularly at our house. The prices are skyrocketing right now. We're going to talk to Richard Stern. He's an expert on the economy and agriculture with the Heritage Foundation. We're going to get to that at about 7:35. Stay tuned.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Good morning. The roads are in good shape, at least the interstates this morning. And we do have light volume out there, but there is an accident northbound 55 at Bayless. And we usually have a slowdown at this area every morning just because of the road work, and it takes you down from 3 lanes to 2 in that area. And they've moved this accident off to the right shoulder, but there isn't a ton of space on the right shoulder through there, so there's a little bit of a delay. Also some moderate volume on northbound 270 around Doherty Ferry, and a little bit, it comes and goes, coming in from Illinois on the Poplar Street Bridge. None of these is a serious jam, but just something to mention at this hour. Other than that, we look good. For the most part, we're in really great shape. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, Lakeside Renovation and Design has been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. From windows and siding to kitchens, bathrooms, and outdoor spaces, they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, so you know what I had the opportunity to do recently is go get my cardiovascular health checked, because cardiovascular disease is one of the leading killers worldwide, right? And if you're not screened for it, you don't know, and you don't want any surprises like that. I got my cardiovascular screening at Victory Men's Health. It's one of the things they have added to their services, which I think is fantastic, because you're in there to feel better about yourself, right? And this is you have a chance now, thanks to Dr. Michael Twyman, a cardiologist here in St. Louis, to get cardiovascular testing in the clinic while you're there. Victory Men's Health has 4 great locations in O'Fallon, Illinois, O'Fallon, Missouri, Town and Country there at Clayton and 141, and now down in Sunset Hills off of Watson Road there. Easy to get to, beautiful offices. You're going to love working with them. If you need hormone optimization, weight loss, you need sexual health, you have sexual health issues, they've got some amazing treatments they can do right in office for you. Don't put it off any longer. You don't have to suffer in silence. Go let my friends at Victory Men's Health help you feel like you again. Go online to victorymenshealth.com.
The Annie Fry Show.
Elon Musk is out there saying, I think that if you're going to receive government funds, you should be able to prove that you're a human being. Outrage. It's absurd.
The Annie Fry Show, weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.1 FM Talk.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Join Marc Patrick Seminars Lose the Weight and Stop Smoking. Early bird specials $49.99. Seminar Sunday, March 16th, Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55, St. Louis. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Or Monday, March 17th, 4 Point Sheraton, St. Louis. Fairview Heights. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. a.m.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
The gloves are off. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has announced its 2025 nominee class.
Oh, boy.
Featuring rock stars Mariah Carey and Outcast, excuse me.
Did you just say Mariah Carey and rock star in the same sentence?
Yeah, she is a rock star. She's getting nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
What?
She's a rock star. Don't you have to be a rock star to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No. But go ahead.
Others include Chubby Checker, Cyndi Lauper, Fish, Oasis, The Black Crowes, Bad Company, Joe Cocker, Billy Idol, Joy Division, and New Order, Soundgarden, and it looks like the White Stripes are rounding it out. There are going to be the nominations. The inductees will be announced in April.
I feel like Mariah Carey only gets that because she has that really famous Christmas song.
She's a rock star,
do people
Kim.
listen to Mariah Carey outside of... I listened to her back in like the 90s. She had some hits, or maybe early 2000s. But other than that, it's just her classic Christmas songs.
They just need to drop the name. Just call it the Music Hall of Fame.
Well, that's what I think.
It's not rock and roll.
Thank you.
Those are not all rock artists.
That's what's bothering me about it. She's not a rock and roller. She's an artist.
Right. Who did you say was in Chubby Checker?
Chubby Checker.
He's one of the original rock and rollers, right?
Yep.
If it wasn't hard rock, I'm not talking about hard rock. It's not rock music.
So the only ones that you care about would be Bad Company, Billy Idol, and Black Crowes, probably.
Yeah, and I don't mind Chubby Checker being in there, but some of those other folks, even they wouldn't classify their genre as rock.
Cyndi Lauper?
Maybe Lauper, but that's more pop, I think. That's why I think they just really deviated from what they started off as.
Fish.
I don't know.
They're a jam band.
That is
Grateful Dead-ish.
Yeah.
They sell out Madison Square Garden.
More so. Anyway,
like nearly 100 times.
You know my issue with it. Sue and I've talked about this a lot.
There's also a Latin band on there.
Yeah, Mana.
Huh. All right.
I just didn't think anybody would know who they were.
I won't be watching, but go ahead.
Ahead of the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary special, they are going to do the SNL 50, the Homecoming concert. This is going to stream tomorrow on Peacock at like 7 p.m., it looks like. It's going to be a bunch of actually diverse acts. Arcade Fire, Backstreet Boys, Bonnie Raitt's going to be playing it, Eddie Vedder. So if you want to watch, it's going to be on Peacock, 7 o'clock tomorrow.
Is the 50th anniversary show, I had a question about this because I saw a promo for it the other day
Sunday.
with all the different names flying in and all that. Is it longer than an hour?
It's 3 hours
plus
a 1 hour red carpet.
How would they fit all those people
there's
in?
No way. Yeah.
I'll put it on my calendar to not watch it.
It's Sunday night.
Some of that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I think some will be good.
Yeah.
And they're doing this at Radio City Music Hall, this concert.
Right.
It's not a big venue, and I don't know how they're going to have the bands go one after each other because, like at festivals, they're on different sides of the thing.
Right.
And at bigger venues, they just have
So you'd be watching it live?
Yeah, it's
that's
going to be
amazing.
live on
I don't know
Peacock.
how they're going to do it.
Wow.
All right.
Unless they have people filling in, I guess. Jimmy or somebody is going to be out there
Or a
telling
house
jokes.
band.
Mm-hmm. Disney is shortening content warnings on older films like Peter Pan and Dumbo, replacing the detailed advisory on negative cultural descriptions with a brief notice stating the films may contain stereotypes or negative description or depictions. The shift aligns with the broader change in Disney's diversity strategy, including replace its diversity and inclusion performance metric with a talent strategy focused on business success. The company is also ending its Reimagine Tomorrow initiative, which is basically its DEI program.
Yeah, here's a related story from Breitbart. Disney executives worried as soaring prices drive families away from the theme parks.
There
Right?
you go.
I mean, for
It's
God's
expensive.
sake, it costs so much money if you have a family of 5 to take them down there to that park for 2 or 3 days. Like to see it, to really see it, you got to go for at least a couple of days.
Yep.
My goodness, what between staying on the property and the cost to get in the park each day, I don't know how people are doing that.
Well, and I think it's because my sister was looking at taking her family, and I think it's hundreds of dollars per ticket to upgrade to a
Not
fast
hundreds,
pass.
For
With
fast
the
pass.
For a
Pass,
fast pass, but that
Lightning
it's,
lane.
but that you still have to wait in a line. It just means it might be a shorter line. But if
Yes.
you're going to do Disney in a couple of days, it might be worth it because otherwise you might only get to a few rides.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's
just
crazy.
Speaking of Disney World, a massive power outage at Disney World's Magic Kingdom on Monday evening left nearly all rides and attractions shut down for hours, with some guests stranded mid-ride. The outage, which hit at least 18 attractions, affected major areas like Fantasyland and Frontierland, shutting down rides such as Space Mountain, the Pirates of the Caribbean, and It's a Small World.
Hopefully, if you're there you get one day at Disney, and that's the day you went. You get a free ticket, right? You get like a
But
rain
then you've already paid for your hotel and your flight home. So if that was your one day there, they could give you your money back, I guess. But that's your trip. It's still a big bummer.
That would suck. Where their backup generators? Come on. What's going on down there? We talk about those here on the radio station all the time. All right. Thank you, Ethan. Appreciate that. Coming up, we'll talk about with former Senator Jim Talent, and also we're going to talk about the egg shortage and when it might be over.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too, to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose, paid for by Bayer.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
You're leaving for work, but the garage door won't open. Is it the opener? Is the spring broken? Now you're late and your car is trapped. Well, don't panic. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is here with same-day emergency service. They won't leave you stuck. The original Red Ribbon Garage Door Company, trusted in St. Louis since 1926. Call 314-781-5200 or schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
We all have different ideas of the perfect retirement, but they all depend on the same thing: not running out of money. And preparing for retirement can sometimes be overwhelming, but it doesn't have to be. Find out how you could build your retirement on your terms. Join host Steve All for the All Financial Hour Saturday mornings at 6 here on 97.1 FM Talk.
You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
It's what Democrats do not want. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Senate Republicans plan to vote this morning to confirm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary.
His beliefs and philosophies and conspiracies would hurt kids, hurt the health of American people.
But Minority Leader Chuck Schumer does not have the votes to block Kennedy. The Senate Judiciary Committee may also vote this morning to advance Kash Patel's nomination to be the FBI director. Democrats don't support him either. They also don't support Linda McMahon and get a chance to tell her that at a confirmation hearing to lead the Department of Education. And President Trump hopes she puts herself out of a job wanting to shut that department down.
Here's what McMahon is expected to say this morning at her hearing. If I am confirmed, the department will not stand idly by while Jewish students are attacked and discriminated against. It will stop forcing schools to let boys and men into female sports and spaces, and it will protect the rights of parents to direct the moral education of their children.
Fox's Doug Luzader. Hamas now saying it does plan to release more hostages from Gaza this weekend, days after suggesting it may not, which prompted Israel to warn the war could restart. President Trump had warned Hamas all hell could break out. And he also is pushing to end Russia's war in Ukraine as soon as possible.
That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible war.
After talking to Russian leader Vladimir Putin by phone, the president said they plan to meet soon. There was also a Trump call with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, who will meet tomorrow with Vice President Vance at a security conference in Munich, Germany, where there was an attack today. A man said to be an Afghan seeking asylum seeker drove into a crowd of people at a demonstration, injuring at least 28 of them. President Trump's plan to slash the federal workforce is back on. A federal judge greenlighting the offer for employees to resign but be paid through September. Here's Fox's Chanley Painter.
The judge denied the union's request to permanently block the program because the unions were not directly impacted. And about 75,000 federal workers have accepted the buyout deal so far.
And that offer is now off the table. America's listening to Fox News.
During tax season, your info travels lots of places you can't control.
W-2 arriving from payroll platform 3.
Everything criminals need to steal your identity is on your W-2.
Last call for accountant and home office, 1 minute.
LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points per second.
Tax preparation data centers with service to IRS. All aboard.
If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed, or your money back. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it! Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use directed.
Good morning, I'm Kim St-Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. It is Thursday, February 13th, 21 degrees if you're just leaving the house now at 7:03. Thankfully, no injuries reported after a plane slid off the runway at Lambert International Airport on Wednesday. That incident happened just before 11 a.m. The plane was coming in from Washington Dulles International Airport. It was carrying 27 people, including the crew, and it slid into a section of grass. The Federal Aviation Administration is now investigating. A Baldwin man is accused of raping 5 women he met on dating apps, and police say there could be even more victims. According to investigators, 28-year-old Yaya Mala went by John on the apps. The first assault allegedly happened in 2023, with the most recent happening just last week. Malia is now facing more than a dozen charges, including rape, kidnapping, and sodomy. St. Louis Public Schools announced it has hired a new bus company after the last company terminated its contract early in 2024. That company, Zoom, will provide the district with 220 buses. All of them will be air-conditioned, and both the parents and the schools will be able to track where the buses are. The district has been using rideshare companies, even cabs in some cases, to get some of these students to class in the meantime. The cost of this new contract with Zoom will cost the district $30 million. 7:04 and 21 degrees at 97.1 FM Talk. In sports, Mizzou beat Oklahoma 82-58 last night. Mizzou will be playing Georgia this upcoming Saturday. Also happening on Saturday, a pretty big game for Illinois. They will be facing number 11 Michigan State. Coming up tomorrow, though, SLU versus Loyola. Tip-off is at 6 o'clock. 21 degrees now at 7:05. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We look great on the roads this morning. There was an accident that they moved to the shoulder, northbound 55 at Bayless, and that is still there. It's on the right shoulder. They had the right lane blocked for a while. But there's already a little bit of a delay in that area. It's in the construction zone, and we see this every morning. So a bit of a slow go through there. The other volume is just moderate, and it's eastbound 64 out at Prospect. And if you're traveling in that area, they say the cause of the delay is a stall. But it's westbound past Lake St. Louis Boulevard. That's how it came down. So if you are traveling in that area, there's just a little bit of moderate volume, and then things open up and look fine. This report brought to you by GL International Realty. Sell your home with trust, confidence, and written guarantees. Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is St. Louis's real estate expert. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
We are in a windy and cold northwest flow today. Clouds giving way to some sunshine. It's a bundle-up day from start to finish. 27 for the high. Tonight, clear, cold. Light winds down to 12. Friday, partly sunny. Very cold start, but windy and a little better Friday afternoon. 38, still cold. Rain developing on Friday night. We stay above freezing. Periods of rain on Saturday, and then lots of cold back here on Sunday. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
All right, 7:06 and 21 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
The Marc Cox Morning Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
the Marc Cox Morning Show.
I respect that. We don't agree. Listen to both sides.
This,
let's get it on,
is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Good morning to you. Happy Thursday. Glad you're with us. The 13th day of February already, which means Valentine's Day is coming up. Just a little reminder there for you if you still got some shopping to do. I don't know what people are planning for tomorrow, but at least the weather won't hamper you. The weather was a big nothing burger yesterday for the most part. People were understandably worried about it, but it didn't end up being much of anything. No, didn't even have to shovel the driveway. I mean, I had the snowblower primed. I was ready to go, and nothing. So disappointing. Not.
But I thought we were only expecting max like a couple inches, so it wouldn't have been some big ordeal.
It was 3 to 5 at one point, they were saying, and maybe some of the northern stretches got a lot more snow than we did where I live. I don't know, but not out in the St. Charles County area.
Well, we don't have a snowblower, and I remember when we had the Snowmageddon, if you want to call it that, in January, and we see our neighbors out there, using their snowblowers, and it was like the Grinch where Martha May or whatever her name is has the
for whatever's on the outside of your business or your residence. It doesn't really matter. My friend Darren's happy to come over and give you a free evaluation. Let me give you an idea of a couple of businesses here that have made that great decision. Hosick Motors over in Vandalia, Illinois. They're going to take part in this. They're working with Darren right now. My friends John and Larry, who are the owners out at Oak Brook Golf Club in Edwardsville. They're getting some work done on some unpainted brick and stucco. And you know why that's such a great decision? Because once they're done, the outside maintenance of the building is not something those business owners have to worry about anymore. If you're a homeowner, like I had it on my last house for 17 and a half years, and when I moved, I was able to transfer the warranty. It's a 25-year transferable warranty. Why does it work so good? I don't understand the science of it, but it's 10 times thicker than regular paint. It forms a ceramic shield on the outside of your house. It's beautiful. It's durable. This is what you want. Call today. Get your free evaluation. Get on the schedule, 877-25-RHINO, or you can check them out online. Tell them Marc Cox sent you, 877-25rhino.com.
97.1 is excited to welcome Brian Kilmeade back to St. Louis.
Hi, everyone. Brian Kilmeade here. I have great news. I'm going to be joining all of you in St. Louis.
Be a part of this event.
March 22nd, St. Louis. You're going to love it.
Get tickets at briankilmeade.com.
I was having a lot of sinus infections. My sinuses were clogged, pressure, headaches.
Linda suffered for years with chronic sinus infections.
You don't feel like doing anything. When you feel like your head is completely clogged, all you want to do is just lay down and sleep. And the pressure, it's just not fun, always walking around with a headache.
Now, her issues are gone. How? A minimally invasive procedure done in the office of St. Louis Sinus Centers called balloon sinuplasty.
I really did not know what it was like to feel like you're really breathing and not being so clogged up. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I would definitely recommend it for someone else.
Do you suffer with chronic sinus infections, facial pain, pressure, congestion? Find out if balloon sinuplasty is the solution for you. Set an appointment today with St. Louis Sinus Centers. Call 314-230-9333. 314-230-9333. That's 314-230-9333.
Cut through the hype. Get to the truth. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
By definition, are we in a constitutional crisis?
Dangerously close to a constitutional crisis.
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 I think this is the most serious constitutional crisis the country has faced.
In Kyiv, Ukraine, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. Along the southern border, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. At the White House, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. In St. Louis, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
Tell me where in the world is
Griff Jenkins.
Watch your back.
Hey, buddy. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good morning, Mark. I got home late last night from being in Panama and got the day off. I got a honey-do list and a bored dog that missed me, but nothing would stop me from calling into the Marc Cox Show.
Well,
why? Because, A, I love this show, you and Kim, but also we're on, obviously, with this constitutional crisis. We're on the precipice of societal collapse, and I just feel like I should get up and do something about it.
All right. So were you down in Panama monitoring the return flight of some migrants, or were you surfing?
No, I wish I was surfing, man. Oh, my gosh. It's gorgeous down there, and I understand there's great waves, although I've never gotten to surf it. I was down there doing soon we'll drop a 1-hour special on Fox Nation. I'll do a little reporting on the Panama Canal. You know, the people in Panama are freaking out. And so we went down there, interviewed the director of the Panama Canal, and the way it works when that was set up, the Panamanian Authority would take control of the canal. The guy that's in control of the canal is sort of a dual head of the country with the president because he has autonomous control over that canal. And so we interviewed him, and he had a lot of good things to say. He's clearly rattled about this takeover. When I went out on a boat And first of all, we're in the canal watching this, engineering marvel that fundamentally changed global commerce, particularly for the U.S., being able to cut through Central America, connecting the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean. But as the boat went, the first boat, kid you not, first boat goes through the canal, and we're standing there watching this massive container ship, and it's really amazing to see the locks rise and low and get the boat through, which barely fits in the actual canal itself. And as they go by, I see like workers on the boat. I'm like, hey, where are you from? And guess what? They all said,
China.
And we're going to air that. And there's a port just beyond the canal that is, it's not owned by the Chinese, but Panama leases it essentially to them, so they have total control of it. And it doesn't control the canal, but it is a indication of just a dominance that the Chinese influence has on the shipping lines and the shipping industry. And so it's going to be good stuff.
Wow. I mean, that's fascinating to me. Are they really nervous about Trump following through on his threat to take control over it again? I mean, as I read the actual treaty that was signed, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, the U.S. would have that right to come back in.
Yeah, listen, they have said, in my talking to them, they said, look, as the treaty, that was signed under the Carter administration in 1977, but the transition didn't go down until 1999, they said, of course, if there is a threat to the canal, we would hope that the U.S., since they are 70% of the business that goes through there, would jump right in to help the conflict. But that there's no conflict right now, and the difference is that Trump says that A, they're not upholding their full neutrality in some way favoring China, and B, he wants to renegotiate the fact that you've got to pay roughly $200,000 every time a ship goes through there. And you think the U.S. shouldn't be paid. And so the Panamanian officials didn't back down at all from the tough questions, about Chinese influence and then also about Trump. And basically their takeaway was, listen, we look forward to sitting down, but we need to get to a good agreement on what it is that President Trump wants, because, as they said, and I think they're right, to be honest, Panama is America's strongest ally in Latin America. And so should Trump, cause financial trouble there, they're worried that the country could destabilize. And those of us old enough to remember, it wasn't that long ago when, Manuel Noriega was in charge, and it was a far less strong ally for us.
Wow.
Hey, Griff, have you been subjected to have to cover any of the protests, specifically from the Democrats like Maxine Waters, who, man, from the sound bites we've been playing, it's like your ears bleed because they're just screaming into the microphone and dropping F-bombs.
It's unbelievable. Maxine Waters is a special individual in her own right. And I was anchoring before I went to Panama this past weekend. I was anchoring Fox and Friends weekend, and we were talking a lot about that and playing that tape ad nauseum. And what I said, and I have the best daughters in the entire world, but I think that guy has had teenage children because he didn't bat an eye. He got a 11 out of 10 on a I don't care what you yell in my face, Maxine Waters. That guard had the stoicism of literally a historical monument. But at the end of the day, you saw yesterday Democrats gathered and were singing some sort of song that was anti-Elon Musk, and you saw a court just rule that the buyout federal worker buyout program could go forward. I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Democrats are going to have to find some way to change their messaging. And this is just an observation, not an opinion, just an observation based on what Democrat friends of mine that have been strategists going all the way back to the Clinton years told me. One on the weekend said, we have got to find a way to lean into the smaller government, the stuff that Bill Clinton and Al Gore talked about and wanted to accomplish going all the way back. We've got to find a way to change our messaging that's not just all anti-Trump in anything he does, because by and large, Democrats, even liberal voters, are not going to support just wasting American tax dollars. Now, I understand trying to rein in Musk because Trump's literally brought him to Washington like a bulldog and let him off the leash. But at the same time, it's a losing message for Democrats in these protests you see from Maxine Waters and Elizabeth Warren, because the American people don't want a bloated, wasteful, bureaucratic government.
I got to go back to the Panama thing for a minute. You worked for a number of years with Ollie North, didn't you?
I did. I started at Fox in 2000. I started his radio show in the 90s. That's my radio background. My heart was always going to be with talk radio, Common Sense Radio with Ollie North.
Well, did he still have any connections down there in Panama? Did he help you out at all?
No, I mean, he didn't help me with this one. And there's certain countries he still can't go back to.
I'll bet
there's still some sort of warrant for his arrest. But, it is fascinating. I'll tell you one thing, since you're interested, Mark, and this is a valid point. I'd gone to Panama, I guess, 3 years ago. If you remember, I think I may have even called in with you guys from the Darien Gap. I was the first American journalist to go into that treacherous jungle where the massive flow of migrants come up through South America, Colombia, certainly the path that most of these Venezuelans have taken, through the Darien Gap into Panama and made their way to the U.S., to our southern border.
Right.
But Panama became a willing partner and has helped, even under the Biden years, and certainly off to a strong start now under the Trump years, to try and harden that border and slow things at that Darien Gap. But when I was there, obviously it was a crisis. Well, fast forward to when I was talking to the Panamanian officials this time, and they said, one wrinkle in this is if whatever Trump and whatever happens does lead to a destabilization of Panama, all of a sudden you're going to have increased migrants from Panama trying to flee our own country because situation will be, terrible and desperate, and people will want to get out. And guess where they're going to head? To the U.S.
That's true. Very true. Hey, so when can we see that? Is it a Fox Nation thing, or is it going to be airing?
It's a Fox Nation thing that should air. I think they're saying take about a week to 10 days to launch that. I think February 20 something. Yeah. And we'll definitely talk about it. But I'm trying to get some clips turning, maybe do a little bit of reporting on it this weekend. I'll be in for the big weekend show, so I'm hoping to put it on there, because unlike some of the other things, Greenland, Trump's going to take Greenland, Gaza, all this other stuff, I think Panama is definitely going to happen, and it should, because ultimately America, whether you want to hear it or not, we've been asleep at the wheel for more than 2 decades in terms of allowing China to get ahead of us. And so this certainly puts a spotlight on that. And I think it's going to have far-reaching implications even beyond the Panama Canal, but also the global shipping dominance that China has right now.
Amen. So, Griff, when we put the show up live on Facebook and Twitter and X and all that, we've gotten to in the habit of putting up a picture of whoever our guest is. So we've got a nice, looks like a Fox News photo of you in your suit and everything. I think what you need to do is text me a picture of yourself on your surfboard, and I want to put that up there the next time.
That's coming 10 seconds after you hang up.
Excellent. So we'll have it ready for next week. How about that?
That sounds great, man. Let's do it.
Awesome. Thanks, Griff.
Thanks, guys.
Now, Panama. All right, we're back in just a minute. Great music, Carl.
Dependable traffic on 97.1 FM Talk.
We are looking good on the roads, taking eastbound 70, 6440, or 44 into downtown is in good shape. There is some volume northbound 270 headed for 44, where we had an earlier accident in the left lane. Quiet, though, on 55. And we look great if you are headed in from Illinois. On the bridges downtown, now's the time. I mean, things really look good through there. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk. If you have wondered if you've saved enough money to retire and you just want to know, how am I going to make the money I do have go a lot further, then try this. It's a 3-hour adult education class, and it's called Retirement Planning 101. It's a one-night class. It's taught by a fiduciary advisor from financial and tax architects. And these people have decades of financial planning experience. And they can explain it all. They're held at colleges and libraries throughout St. Louis. You learn everything you need to know. How do I reduce my taxes? How do I maximize my Social Security income? How do I pay for anything that may come up? Well, it's free, but they ask that you bring 3 canned goods for St. Louis Crisis Nursery. There are a handful of openings for classes this month and next. Just register by calling 314-947-2012. That's 314-947-2012.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Marc Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Marc Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Marc Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Marc Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again, my blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Marc Patrick Seminar's early bird special, only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings. That's right. Seminar Sunday, March 16th, Aviator Hotel and Suites, South I-55 in St. Louis. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. or Monday, March 17th. 4 Points by Sheraton, St. Louis, Fairview Heights, Fairview Heights. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Register at marcpatrickseminars.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Winner of the prestigious Marc Cox Morning Show Award every year. The Marc Cox Morning Show.
Do you think that calling Elon Musk a dick is effective messaging for confronting what is a potentially irreversible transformation of the U.S. government?
Well, he is a dick.
That's the soundbite of the day. I don't normally always do one of those, but I've had to play that throughout the morning. And Carl and I both laugh every time we hear it. Getting a television news anchor to repeat that word, just like we did the other day with Dana Bash when she had to describe Elon Musk's new Twitter handle, right? As Harry, you know what. So here's the thing. That's where they've devolved to. It's juvenile, but it's funny in a certain way. But it's juvenile to understand that that's what they've devolved to. They can't do anything else with Elon Musk other than call him nicknames. Like they're calling him names, right? When you start cussing at somebody, you've lost the argument, the way I generally look at that. But at least those are not creative names. I saw this story, Kim. I meant to get to it yesterday, and I never did. They have released the vanity plates rejected in the state of Missouri in 2024. It's down. The good news is the ones they had to reject are down from 2023. They only rejected 379 custom license plates last year compared to almost 500 in 2023. So they've got a list of some of the ones that that they rejected, and I don't agree with. I don't understand why they rejected some of them. They must have had their reasons for it. But the department rule says they will deny plates that are obscene, profane, patently offensive, or contemptuous of a racial or ethnic group, or offensive to good taste or decency, and would present an unreasonable danger to the health or safety of the applicant. I guess they're afraid you're going to put something on there and get shot. I don't know that. Some of these, because of FCC rules, I cannot repeat on the radio.
Can't you spell them out, Mark?
I don't know. Do you think I could spell some of them out? Maybe
Some.
the one turned down the most was some take on the Hawk Tua girl. Like there must be. I went through and highlighted some of these that I thought I could get away with talking about, and a whole bunch of them, like 4 or 5 of them in a row, were something to do with Hawk Tua. They were trying to sneak this past them, I guess, somehow, but it didn't.
So
work.
dumb.
It is. So here's one, BGBOOB.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocker, that was declined.
That was declined. MURDR, murder, right? BMAHOE.
Sure.
People are
Mark, you're spelling
creative.
right now. It's not even 9 a.m. I feel like I have to write this out.
Sorry, Bimaho, I guess, is what.
I was also
that's
just
what
making
you're
you have to say
saying.
it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good job, Kim.
FYRSLF. As you drive by. Yeah, these are all, somebody's in a good mood when they're doing these. DSZNTZ.
Oh my gosh. Well, somebody did run for president with that
there you go.
name, and now you have Elon Musk with the official name on X.
Exactly.
Similar to that.
D's nuts. Got poo is on there.
Was there a question mark at the end of that? Can you do that for a license plate?
No, these were all rejected.
They should allow punctuation.
BAKTFO. So if you're tired of people tailgating you might want them to back TFO, right? I guess that was the point, but they said no on those. A lot of these have the F word in them that they weren't ever going to get through. You'd almost had to know that.
Without a C or without a K?
Correct. One said Glock D, like it had a gun name in it, and I guess they rejected it for that reason. Spanked, SPANKT. Pimp for You is another one that got rejected by the state of Missouri. F it got rejected by the state of Missouri for these. And here's another one. I thought this was pretty funny. B1GJEW. So in other words, they're replacing the 1 for an I, and it would have said Big Jew on it. Now, why would you, if somebody wants to put that on their license plate, why would you care? You're clearly referring to yourself and not somebody else. I don't know.
The weird license plates are when they're so confusing. I'm sitting there and behind you trying to figure it out. I'm just annoyed. Like, at least make it clear.
That's a fun game for sure. All right, we're out of time for the day. Kill Meat up next. Annie and Marc in a little later today. We'll see you back tomorrow morning, Friday morning at 5 a.m.
Valentine's Day.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this